Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Donald Trump posting major victories on many fronts, and this arguably right here is the biggest one because the United States is on track to have the lowest amount of monthly border crossings in at least 25 years. And this comes after the fact that we've had one of the worst border crises, I think, ever, arguably in the history of the world. But now it's automatically fixed, just the mere presence of Donald Trump in the White House. And it's true that we need to pick up the numbers in regards to deportations. I get that. There's a lot of funding that possibly could be on the way. It just depends how the Senate decides to vote on that, and that could be another problem. But the main focus here in this video is talking about some of these victories because there have been a lot of them, and this arguably is the biggest one of all because you look at this in the month of February, the average daily illegal border crossings, you had 5,300 in 2021, 6,400 in 2022, 5,600 in 2023, 2,900 in 2024, and in February of 2025, just 359 per day. And the gotaways are far, far lower. So that's an absolute victory for Donald Trump. You know, people might say, well, they were already going down before, but they were kind of stabilized and they were still relatively high, not at like their 2022 peak because, you know, they're already here and possibly we're anticipating Trump to come into the White House. But instantly, after Donald Trump gets in the White House, the numbers fall off a cliff, significantly off a cliff, and that's a major victory for Donald Trump that we're seeing here. The lowest border crossings per month in at least 25 years. I mean, that is absolutely huge. We still need border security. We still need to finish the wall. All that is true, but still, you know, anybody that was saying, well, Trump might not enact mass deportation, so, you know, Kamala Harris and Trump are identical. Yeah, no, they're not. If you had Kamala Harris winning, you probably would have had those numbers significantly skyrocket because she was touting possible amnesty if she won. But now that Trump's in the White House, just 360 per day, not even. That is a massive victory when it comes down to the immigration front. And honestly, there have been plenty of victories for Donald Trump on the economy front as well. You know, it's true, the stock market is shaky right now. Part of it's a correction. Part of it is because of the uncertainty about the tariff threats and the Trump recession comment. That part is true. But still, the stocks likely are going to bounce back at some point. And a lot of metrics that Americans see on a daily basis, like the prices of gas and the prices of groceries. We'll take a look at this. U.S. gas prices have reached the lowest level since March 2021. Here in Texas even, I've seen gas below $2.50 for the first time in I don't even know how long, probably back when Trump was last in the White House. And you're seeing this all around. Gas prices are going down, and Donald Trump is just starting to increase our supply. He made it a campaign promise to drill, baby, drill, and he's going to continue doing that. But already, you look at the gas prices nationwide, they're the lowest they've been in over 4 years, which is absolutely huge, and the American people can see it. Especially if you commute to work every day, you're saving, a decent amount of money every single month based on the gas prices falling. And when you talk about inflation, gas prices are a big part of that because if the gas prices are falling, energy is used for transporting every single good. The cost of goods are going to go down, and you're also seeing that in regards to inflation. You look at this, the inflation index, it's not a perfect index, but Trueflation is showing it plummeting. Ever since Donald Trump took the White House. He took the White House when it was almost at 3%. Now it's plummeted to 1.4%, which was the inflation rate under Donald Trump. Yet technically prices are still going up. Wages, however, will be rising faster than inflation if this is the case, which is absolutely huge. What you're looking at here, the rate of inflation, it's dipping. The cost of gas is dipping to 2021 levels. On top of that, the cost of eggs. Remember, because eggs were like one of the goods that were going up when Trump first took office, even though the same eggs were on the shelves during the Biden administration. Democrats thought that they could actually blame Trump for that, thinking it would bode well for them. But because the bird flu, which is, the real cause of I guess you would say that the spike that took place in late 2024, obviously, they were already going up under Biden, but that's not the point. This recent thing that we've seen. Well, now it seems like Trump, because he took the steps necessary to make sure that we would have enough eggs in the supply chain. Well, now the cost of eggs is significantly plummeted. It's plummeting even further. It's the lowest that it's been in 3 months. I don't even know if this graph is fully encapsulating the whole thing. I saw another chart that had it a little bit lower than this too. But either way, it's like, yeah, the cost of gas is going down. The cost of eggs is going down. Democrats really thought that was going to be like a winning message for them against Donald Trump to kind of play the I told you so card. And it's not really working. Even in the jobs report that we're seeing, they say it's underwhelming, but look into the jobs report, because the jobs reports were inflated under Biden. And I'm not just talking about the fluff that they were forced to admit in Biden's own Department of Labor, where like 1 million jobs just didn't even exist. They were like phantom jobs. But you look at this jobs report right here for foreign-born workers. Now, a lot of these people are non-citizens. Many of them are not even legal. That part is true. It's not like these are all just like immigrants or whatever. No, a lot of these are like foreign-born workers. They're not citizens. They can't even vote. The jobs for those people are down. They're down by 90,000 almost, but native-born workers' jobs are up by 284,000. And that is huge, because it's like the first time in over a year where you saw native-born workers gain jobs at a higher rate than foreign-born workers gain jobs, because native-born workers lost real jobs. When you take out the whole COVID bounce back stuff, native-born workers lost jobs under the Biden administration. Foreign-born workers basically accounted for literally everything, but now that's changing. You're seeing it here. The American people are benefiting. It's like, what country would do this to themselves, where you would have native-born workers lose jobs, but workers from all over the world, they'd be getting the jobs over native-born Americans. But now it seems like the tides are turning, because you actually have serious leadership. You actually have a serious president. So it's true that the stock market is a little bit shaky, but the actual metrics of the economy that affect Americans on a daily basis are taking just a complete 180 from what we've seen under the Biden administration, to the point where you could point to it and say, yeah, it's some sort of an economic miracle. It's true the market is dipped a little bit, but at the same time, that likely will revert at some point. It is true that in regards to the tariffs you might have on certain products, a little bit higher prices, it's short-term losses for long-term gain. It would make sense to do it now rather than later, where people would feel the effects more. And when the economy's roaring back, it seems like everything is roaring back. And these metrics are absolutely wonderful, and they're big victories for Donald Trump. But if this continues and Donald Trump's approval is relatively high, you're talking about a midterm year that's going to be very solid for the Republican Party, to the point where they may even hold that trifecta. And honestly, it gets better when you look at some of the polls, not necessarily the approval polls. We'll get to those in a second, which Trump is still pretty much above water in many of them, the serious polls, the accurate polls, but the direction of the country. You look at this, it completely went up. It's the highest that it's been since early 2021 post-lockdowns, which is just insane. It's back to where it was during Trump's administration. Yes, the direction of country polls usually lean in the negatives. We have a lot of cynical people, and there's many elements of our society that can't be fixed by the executive that people are not going to be happy about. Let's be honest about that. But still, the fact of the matter is, you have a lot of people now, they actually approve of the state of affairs, and they didn't do that before, to the point where it's 42% that view the country going in the right direction. You didn't have that since way back in early 2021. So that's good. And when you look at the polls in this aggregate, you have Economist, which is awful, flooded by a lot of liberals in the online panel. It's been broken since COVID. Same thing with Reuters. If you take those two polls out of it, it's more like, what do you want to average it out at? Like 46 when you look at the other polls, which we haven't been that high since, on record, really, since they started tracking this thing, maybe since like mid 2009, not even. So that's absolutely huge for Donald Trump. The fact you even have polls in the aggregate where it's tied, it's Emerson that has it as a tie. Emerson was one of the most accurate pollsters in the 2024 and 2020 elections. So that's great news for Donald Trump that a lot of people are viewing the state of affairs much more positively. And still, of course, you have the election mafia that hasn't learned a thing. And you look at the polls here. Rasmussen, which was accurate, they got a lot of hate, but they were very accurate pollster in the 2024 election. Trump's approval rating is +5. Qantas, very accurate as well, +3. Reuters, which was very inaccurate, one of the worst polls this cycle, -8. And Quinnipiac, which kind of got their act together, but is known for really lowballing the approval rating of Trump. When Trump was in the White House the first term, it was his worst pollster. They have Trump down -11. And it's like, okay, not all of these things can be true at once. Does public opinion really change on a dime like that, like some of these other polls are showing? Or is it just a poor methodology in their panel, response bias, you name it? Well, let me just say this. The accurate polls in 2024 are showing Trump above water. They're not showing him losing a massive amount of approval. The ones that do are the same polls that I use as toilet paper and were awful in the 2024 election and pretty much every other election. But for some reason, they're still respected by very stupid people because they want to undermine Donald Trump. It's like, I know which set of polls that I'm going to believe here. The polls that have been accurate at gauging Donald Trump's support, and those polls are showing him in the positives. The overall trajectory, it's going up. And while the markets are a little bit shaky, there's a lot of positive metrics on the economic front, and it's looking very good for Donald Trump and his administration moving forward. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.